Stop for a moment and listen carefully, because what is unfolding around you right now is not ordinary. Something has already begun moving in the unseen world, and even though your eyes cannot fully recognize it yet, your spirit has been sensing it for days. That strange pull in your chest, that feeling that something is about to change, that restless energy that keeps returning when the room becomes quiet, none of it is random. Do not scroll away from this moment too quickly. There is a reason your soul found these words tonight. Because Monday is not arriving like every other Monday before it. No, this Monday carries a doorway hidden inside it. And somewhere in a place you least expect, two timelines are preparing to collide. Yours. And the person your heart has unknowingly been waiting for. I need you to hear this with complete stillness inside your spirit. The one I am speaking about is already walking through their own emotional storm tonight. They have no idea why their thoughts feel heavier than usual. They cannot explain why certain memories suddenly rise in their mind. They keep feeling drawn toward a place they normally would ignore. Even now, while you are listening to this message, something is quietly guiding them too. Yes, both of you are being pulled at the same time. Not by coincidence, by alignment. And before I reveal what is happening, there is something you must understand first. This connection was not created yesterday. Long before this week arrived, long before you knew their name, long before either of you experienced the heartbreaks that changed you, your paths were already written beside each other in invisible ink. You thought certain endings destroyed your future, but they were repositioning you. You thought certain delays meant rejection, but they were protection. You cried over people who could never hold your soul correctly because heaven refused to let temporary hands touch a permanent connection. And now, after all the waiting, after all the confusion, after every night you questioned whether real love still existed for someone like you, the atmosphere around your life has started shifting. Can you feel it? That unusual energy around ordinary moments? That sudden desire to clean your room, change your appearance, step outside more often, revisit old dreams, take different roads, answer messages differently. Your spirit has been preparing without even realizing it. Because Monday is carrying an encounter that will not feel accidental. At first, it may seem small. That is the part that will shock you. You expect destiny to arrive with fireworks, dramatic music, instant certainty, but sometimes soul recognition enters quietly. Sometimes it arrives disguised as a normal conversation. Sometimes it begins with a glance lasting 1 second longer than expected. Sometimes it starts with an apology, a strange coincidence, or a random delay that forces two people into the same moment. But your soul will know. Oh yes, your soul will know before your mind does. And that is why I needed to speak to you before this happens. Because when the moment arrives, doubt will try to interfere. Your past will whisper, "What if this is another disappointment?" Your fear will whisper, "What if I imagine the connection?" Your wounds will whisper, "What if they leave too?" But your spirit will become strangely calm near them. And that calmness will confuse you. Listen carefully now, because this next part matters deeply. The location connected to this meeting is not random at all. It holds emotional symbolism tied to your current season of life. That place reflects who you are becoming, not who you used to be. Do you understand the importance of that? Heaven is not sending this connection into your old environment. No, this meeting appears where transformation is already happening. For some of you, it will happen near movement, a station, a road, a parking area, a place where people pass quickly without noticing each other. Yet somehow, time will slow down for you. For others, it will happen near water, rain, a cafe window, A store entrance. Somewhere your emotions suddenly feel louder than usual. And for some listening right now, the location is connected to healing. A bookstore. A quiet corner. A workplace. A place you almost decided not to visit. Pause here for a second, because this part is critical. There is a reason you have been feeling resistance lately whenever you try to isolate yourself completely. Heaven has been fighting your urge to disappear. You thought you were simply tired, but spiritually, you were standing too close to the edge of giving up. And if you had fully withdrawn, you would have missed the alignment approaching you. That is why unexpected interruptions kept happening around you. Plans changing, schedules shifting, random invitations, delays, last-minute decisions. You called them inconvenient. But what if they were divine reroutes? What if every frustrating little shift was slowly moving you toward a single moment waiting on Monday? Take a deep breath and stay with me, because the next revelation will explain why your emotions have felt unusually intense recently. The person you are about to encounter carries energy your soul remembers, even if your mind does not. No, I am not speaking about fantasy. I am speaking about recognition deeper than logic. When they enter your presence, something inside you will become alert. Not anxious, alert. You may suddenly notice details more vividly. Their voice, their eyes, the strange familiarity in the silence between sentences. And here is the part nobody prepared you for. They will feel it too, even if they try hiding it, even if they act normal, even if the conversation appears casual. Something in them will become emotionally unsettled after meeting you. That night, your presence will remain inside their thoughts longer than expected. They will replay the interaction, replay your words, replay your energy, replay the feeling they could not explain. And meanwhile, you will sit there wondering why your heart suddenly refuses to move on from a small interaction. Because it was never small. There are moments on earth that look ordinary from the outside while heaven watches them like historic events. Monday carries one of those moments. Do not underestimate it. Now listen very carefully, because there is something hidden beneath this encounter that almost nobody sees at first. This soulmate connection is arriving after both of you experienced emotional exhaustion. Both of you learned how painful false connections can become. Both of you built walls pretending not to care anymore. But those walls are weakening now. That is why your emotions have felt unstable recently. You are not falling apart. You are opening. There is a difference. And opening terrifies people who survived disappointment. Especially you. You became so used to carrying everything alone that receiving genuine emotional attention now feels unfamiliar. You question it immediately. You search for hidden motives. You prepare for betrayal before love even has a chance to speak. But this person enters your life differently. They do not awaken chaos first. They awaken awareness. Awareness of how deeply you buried your softer side. Awareness of how long you pretended not to need anyone. Awareness of how exhausted your soul truly became. And the strange part is, they may not even realize they are doing this to you yet. That is why Monday matters more than you understand. Because this is not merely about meeting someone attractive. It is about collision. A collision between the version of you shaped by pain and the version of you ready for something real. But there is another reason I brought you here tonight. A warning. Not a fearful warning. A spiritual one. When the moment begins unfolding, distractions will suddenly appear around you. Watch carefully. Something may tempt you to cancel plans. Something may encourage you to stay home. Something may drain your energy unexpectedly. And someone from your past may suddenly try returning emotionally at the exact wrong time. This is not accidental. Old energy often reappears right before transformation enters, not because the past suddenly changed, but because your spirit is approaching a door it never reached before. The enemy of your future is not always obvious hatred. Sometimes it is familiar comfort. Sometimes it is the temptation to repeat what already broke you. Do not ignore this message. Monday requires your presence. Physically, emotionally, spiritually. There is somewhere you are supposed to be, and deep down, you already know the place I am talking about. Yes, that location you suddenly keep thinking about, that place appearing repeatedly in your mind, that destination you almost visited recently, that random idea that refuses to leave your spirit. Nothing is random anymore. Not this week. Not now. Something sacred is weaving itself together behind the scenes. And the timing of this connection is even more shocking than the connection itself, because both of you almost missed each other before. You do not know this yet. But there were earlier moments where your paths nearly crossed. One delayed decision changed everything. One missed invitation. One different route. One moment where one of you arrived too early, or too late. But heaven delayed the encounter because neither heart was ready yet. Can you imagine how close destiny stood to you while you remained unaware? That is why your spirit feels emotional listening to these words. Some part of you recognizes the truth hidden inside them. You have been approaching this moment for longer than you realize. And now the universe around you is becoming strangely precise. Watch the signs carefully after tonight. Songs, numbers, unexpected conversations, certain names repeating, dreams becoming vivid, feelings intensifying at night. Do not dismiss these things immediately. Your spirit notices shifts before your mind catches up. Now let me reveal something even deeper. This soulmate is not entering your life merely to romance you. No, they arrive to awaken parts of you that went silent. The creative side, the hopeful side, the fearless side, the version of you that existed before disappointment convinced you to shrink yourself emotionally. That is why this connection will feel emotionally overwhelming at first. Not because it is toxic, but because it touches places inside you that have been emotionally asleep. You will suddenly care again, dream again, feel again, and after being numb for so long, feeling becomes terrifying. Stay with me a little longer, because the next detail changes everything. The first meeting may not end the way you expect. There may not be instant confession. There may not be dramatic declarations. In fact, one of you may walk away pretending the interaction meant nothing. But later something shifts. A sentence returns to their mind. A look becomes unforgettable. An emotion refuses to disappear. And that is when the real story begins. Do you see now why Monday matters? It is not simply about location. It is about ignition. The beginning of something both terrifying and beautiful. And before this part ends, there is one final truth I need to place inside your spirit tonight. The reason your soulmate is appearing now is because you finally survived the version of yourself that believed love would never choose you. Read that again inside your soul. You survived the loneliness. You survived the confusion. You survived being misunderstood. You survived the nights nobody checked on you. You survived watching others receive what you prayed for. And somehow, despite all of it, your heart still remained capable of hope. That is your miracle. Not perfection. Not popularity. Not appearance. Your miracle is that your heart did not completely harden after everything it endured. And heaven noticed that. Oh yes, heaven noticed every silent battle you fought without applause. Every moment you kept going while emotionally exhausted. Every tear you hid from people. Every prayer you whispered quietly into the dark. Nothing was ignored. Nothing. Which is why this next chapter entering your life feels different already. You can sense it. That strange anticipation. That emotional pull. That invisible countdown happening inside your chest. Monday is closer than you think. And the location. The location is already waiting for both of you. But there is something about that place I have not revealed yet. Something so unexpected that when you finally realize why your souls were drawn there, you will understand that this meeting was orchestrated long before either of you were born. And when the first true sign appears, when you notice the detail connecting both of your lives in a way impossible to explain, your entire understanding of coincidence will collapse. But that revelation is not for tonight. There is something I need you to notice before we go any deeper into this message. The atmosphere around your life has already started changing. Not loudly, not dramatically, quietly, like footsteps approaching in another room, like rain forming before the first drop falls, like a song beginning before the music fully arrives. You thought this week would be ordinary. But heaven has been rearranging details behind your back while you focused on surviving another day. And now Monday stands closer than ever, closer than your fear, closer than your doubts, closer than the walls you built to protect your heart. Listen carefully, because what I am about to reveal explains why your emotions have become so unpredictable lately. One moment you feel detached from everyone, and the next moment you feel an ache inside your spirit that you cannot explain. You keep trying to distract yourself. You scroll longer, stay awake later, think harder, yet something inside you keeps whispering. Something is coming. Yes, because your soul already senses the shift before your mind accepts it, and the person you are about to encounter, they have been feeling it too. Even now, while you listen to this message, there is a strange emotional restlessness moving through them. They keep checking their phone for no reason. They feel distracted in conversations. They keep revisiting old memories unexpectedly. They cannot fully focus because part of their spirit is unconsciously preparing for an encounter they do not yet understand. Do you realize how extraordinary this is? Two people living separate lives, walking through separate struggles, somehow being spiritually pulled toward the same moment at the same time, not by force, by destiny. But wait, do not rush ahead emotionally yet, because before souls recognize each other externally, something deeper always happens first. The inner world begins trembling. That is exactly what has been happening to you. You thought your recent emotional waves meant weakness. No, they were signs of awakening. Your spirit has been trying to reopen after years of emotional survival mode. And survival mode changes people. It teaches them to expect disappointment before joy arrives. It teaches them to protect themselves from hope. It teaches them to pretend they no longer care. But your soul never stopped caring. It simply became tired. That is why this connection arriving now feels so spiritually intense. It is reaching the part of you that still secretly believed love existed somewhere beyond the heartbreak. And Monday becomes the first crack in the emotional prison you built around yourself. Now listen very closely, because the next detail matters more than you realize. The location connected to this meeting carries emotional history, not necessarily history between you and them, but history within you. That place represents transition, movement, choice, transformation. It is connected to the version of yourself you are becoming. For some listening tonight, this location is connected to work or responsibility. Somewhere you go without expecting emotional miracles. A place where your mind usually stays occupied. A place you thought held nothing extraordinary for you anymore. Yet heaven often hides destiny inside routine. That is the mystery. For others, the location feels temporary. A stop, a passing moment. Somewhere you were never supposed to stay long, and yet one encounter changes everything. And for a few of you, the location is connected to healing from your past. You almost avoided this place because too many memories were attached to it. But heaven is about to replace an old emotional imprint with a new beginning. Stay with me, because the next revelation explains why certain people suddenly started behaving strangely around you recently. Have you noticed it? Some people becoming distant, others becoming unusually curious about your life, old connections resurfacing, unexpected messages, random emotional tension. It is because your energy has started shifting, and people unconsciously feel it before they understand it. When destiny approaches, the atmosphere around a person changes, and not everyone can remain comfortable around transformed energy. Some people were only assigned to your survival season, not your arrival season. Do not mourn every distance forming around you right now. Certain doors must close quietly so the right soul can enter without interference. You have spent too much time grieving people who were never truly aligned with your future. But your soulmate. This person carries a different energy entirely. They do not arrive to confuse your spirit. They arrive to mirror it. That is why the first interaction may feel unnervingly familiar. You may find yourself opening emotionally faster than expected. You may feel strangely safe revealing parts of yourself you normally hide. Even silence with them may feel meaningful. And here is the part that will shock you most. They are terrified too. Yes, even your soulmate carries hidden fear. Fear of attachment. Fear of disappointment. Fear of finally meeting someone real after losing faith in connection. That is why heaven delayed this encounter until now. Earlier versions of both of you would not have recognized each other properly. Pain would have ruined the timing. Immaturity would have distorted the connection. Fear would have caused avoidance. But now, after everything both of you endured, your spirits have become ready to recognize substance instead of illusion. Pause here for a moment and let that settle inside you. Because your generation has become addicted to temporary attention while starving for genuine emotional connection. People speak constantly but reveal nothing real. They chase validation instead of intimacy. They confuse chemistry with destiny. But this connection unfolding around you, it moves differently, slowly, deeply, uncomfortably honest. That is why your spirit will notice it immediately. Not because it feels perfect, but because it feels alive. And there is another reason this meeting matters. The person entering your path has been silently praying for someone exactly like you without realizing it. Not your exact face, not your exact name, your energy, your heart, your depth. They became exhausted by shallow interactions pretending to be meaningful. They grew tired of performing emotional games. Somewhere deep inside, they stopped asking for excitement and started asking for peace. And heaven heard them, just like heaven heard you. Now I need you to pay attention to your intuition after tonight, especially on Sunday evening, especially late at night, because your spirit may suddenly feel unusually emotional before the meeting happens. You may struggle to sleep. You may feel anticipation for no logical reason. Memories may rise unexpectedly. Certain songs may hit harder than usual. This is not madness. It is alignment approaching. Your soul recognizes movement in the unseen realm before physical reality catches up. And there is something else. Something you have not considered yet. This soulmate connection may begin with confusion rather than certainty. Yes, because real soul recognition often feels too powerful to process immediately. One of you may pretend the interaction meant nothing, One of you may become quieter afterward. One of you may suddenly pull back emotionally because the intensity feels unfamiliar. Do not panic when this happens. Depth frightens people who became accustomed to surface-level connection, especially hearts that survived betrayal, especially hearts that spent years pretending not to need anyone. But what is real cannot remain hidden forever, and the emotional gravity between you will continue pulling stronger after Monday. You will think about them unexpectedly. They will think about you unexpectedly. Tiny details from the interaction will replay in your minds, and both of you will secretly wonder the same question. Why does this feel different? Because it is. Now listen carefully to this next revelation, because very few people understand it. Your soulmate is not appearing because you suddenly became flawless. No, they are appearing because you finally became authentic. There is a difference. For too long you tried becoming what others wanted. You minimized yourself emotionally. You hid your sensitivity. You swallowed your truth to avoid rejection. You carried pain silently because you feared being too much. But exhaustion changed you. Pain stripped performance away. And now your real energy has finally begun surfacing. That is the version of you this soulmate was waiting for. Not the mask. Not the performance. The real you. The emotionally scarred you. The healing you. The honest you. Do you understand how powerful that is? You are no longer attracting people based on who you pretended to be. You are beginning to attract alignment based on who you truly are. And Monday becomes proof of that transformation. But there is still one hidden layer you have not seen yet. The location itself contains a sign. A detail so strangely specific that when you notice it, your spirit will freeze for a moment. It may be connected to a word, a symbol, a repeated number, a song playing unexpectedly, a conversation overheard nearby, something small, yet impossible to ignore. And that detail will become the first invisible thread tying your souls together consciously. You will try to act normal afterward, but inwardly, something will shift forever. Because after years of wondering whether love was still searching for you, you will finally feel movement. Real movement. Not fantasy. Not illusion. Not temporary attention. Movement. Towards something meaningful. And still. There is one final truth I have not revealed. The meeting itself is only the beginning. What happens after Monday carries even greater emotional intensity than the encounter itself. Because there is a hidden reason your soulmate has been delayed for so long. A reason connected to timing, family, and a decision one of you almost made recently that could have changed everything forever. Yes, one choice almost redirected this destiny completely. And the shocking part is, neither of you even realized how close you came to missing each other again. But heaven intervened, quietly, precisely, in ways you still do not fully see. And when you discover what truly brought both of you to that exact location on Monday, when you realize how many invisible events had to align perfectly for your paths to cross, your heart will never see coincidence the same way again. But the biggest revelation has still not been spoken aloud, because your soulmate already carries something connected to you. Something they have possessed long before meeting you. And when you finally discover what it is, the entire connection will become impossible to ignore.